good morning, evening, afternoon, day, I don't really know what time. Welcome to yet another Star Trek podcast. I am Brad, your host for the time period. And as always, joining me are the two wonderfully foolish individuals, the man who is truly envious of Anson Mount's hair, Majid.
And Bod, an overall vibe. Oh, hello.
How you doing there, buddy?
Hi.
How's everything going there?
It's going good. I was wondering.
You just came from a post-morning workout?
Yeah, and I thought of why there aren't any bodybuilders in Starfleet. I mean, it would come in handy, right?
I mean, they would probably have tough times fitting through the Jeffrey tubes.
But they don't have to be in engineering. They could be in security.
Then they can't fit it in the Jeffrey's tubes when an intruder comes on board.
Who's Jeffrey?
Moving on, as always, joining us, Drew, the man who has the plan, the man with the most. How you doing there, buddy?
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no plan. I don't have the most anything.
You have the most calves.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll go with that.
You have the most tolerance of me and Majid.
No, that's not true.
That's debatable, yeah.
Gentlemen, it's been about 2 weeks almost for us since we've last talked. I know the lovely listeners probably have just gone 1 week. What's new and shaken with you guys?
Well, I just got back from vacation, which is pretty cool.
How was that, buddy? Did the weather turn out very well for you?
Well, it was cloudy the entire time, which was disappointing, but in hindsight, I think it worked out for the best because we did a lot of outdoor activities, and I am prone to sunburn, and thankfully, when it's cloudy, the sunscreen does extra work for me.
But there's no sunshine in Silent Hill, though. It's always cloudy and foggy.
Yeah, but you could still get sunburned through the clouds.
True. Very true.
But on the flip side, we did try to go see a sunrise up on Cadillac Mountain in Maine, and it was cloudy. And then we tried to see a sunset cruise.
It was cloudy.
And, Bar Harbor, and it was cloudy and foggy. So, that didn't work out so well. But everything else about the trip was really wonderful.
Did you go to London by chance?
Maine, so might have well have been.
London, yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, Maine, England. It was so bad. Don't even laugh at that. That was just bad.
It was so bad. That's why I'm laughing.
It was, yeah.
I'm laughing because it was terrible.
Ouch. I'm laughing because you're terrible. Ouch. Words hurt.
So, guys, the other day, my wife and I were walking, and we ended up coming across a stray kitten.
Aw.
And I swear to God, man, if we were not expecting a child, I would totally have just taken that cat home. I've already gone over to feed it twice, and it is the most friendliest kitten you'll ever meet.
Well, now you have a cat. Another cat.
Yeah. I mean, bouncing baby Brad would love another cat.
I didn't know I wasn't aware there was a spawn point in Atlanta.
Clearly. But hey, any of our listeners who know a good home, please wait. Everybody's not going to listen to this until after it's been adopted. Never mind. I'm going to find a home for the cat, listeners. Don't worry.
Just keep us updated.
The cat will be taken care of.
This is going to be something that you need to update us on a weekly basis now.
More than likely, it'll be me adopting the cat. Probably will end up happening. I'm going to be going after we record to feed the cat. That's my plan.
This is how it happens, though. Have you given the cat a name yet?
Oh yeah, it's called Dresden.
Oh, that's your cat then.
That's a horrible name.
That's the street we found it on.
It's also a nerdy name as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, does the cat do math?
I approve.
My wife didn't get it, Drew, but I was like, oh, that's really adorable.
You're like, Drew will get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a cat now. Once you name the cat's yours.
Yeah, my wife was the one that named it, so I don't feel that bad.
She named it Dresden?
Oh, gosh.
She did, because it was the street that we found it on. So it was like, hey, we're calling him Dresden. I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's a thing now. I guess that's now our cat, apparently.
That's what happened with Metro. I was sitting on the train heading into Comic-Con, and I'm like, I want that cat. His name is Metro. And then he was my cat.
There you go. Yeah.
He was a kid.
Shout out to GD for finding him.
Shout out to Drew for bringing food.
Oh, that's right, because Majid, you ended up texting Drew, and you brought the food for her.
Right, and then I sent my wife a flood of photos and text messages about the cat, and she had to corral one of our friends, Bill, to help her out, go retrieve the cat, and they were expecting to have to chase this cat around and try to wrangle him into the cage and everything, and he just comes walking right up to them and rubbing on their legs.
Yeah, Metro is real friendly.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't. Dax seems less than friendly at times.
So yeah, he's just not friendly with new people.
I mean, I've known Dax for 20 years.
With just Majid. I've liked Dax. Dax's been my friend.
He's also not a fan of Wayne either. I think there's a pattern here.
Are you calling my cat racist?
I'm not calling your cat racist. I didn't put a label on it.
I feel like you are. I feel like you are.
Nope, I'm not saying that at all.
Don't gaslight me.
Gentlemen, shall we move on away from this wonderful cat topic and into the episode?
Right, we'll stop talking about racist cats in Drew's house.
When Majid, when you get a chance, what you should do is you should go on YouTube and look up racist coffee. When you get a chance, it is a hilarious video. You'll get a real kick out of it.
Fine, I'll watch that if you watch Racist Gift Basket by Gabriel Iglesias.
I watched that actually this past weekend.
Okay,
that was hilarious. Did you watch the one where he brought his friend? Man, we're just BSing. Come on, let's talk about the episode.
Okay, just real quick. Speaking of episode, She-Hulk premieres this week, and that's it. Just saying.
We're not starting another podcast. I'm sorry. I got a baby on the way. I can't deal with this.
A baby on the way? You've never mentioned it on this podcast ever before.
This week, we watched the Galileo 7, an action-packed, non-stop thrill ride of a Wild West-style episode. 7 gunmen from a variety of backgrounds are brought together by a vengeful young widow to protect her town from a private army of a destructive industrialist.
Did we watch the same episode?
I may have accidentally watched the Magnificent Seven instead.
Which one? The one with Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was also pretty bad.
Did I miss much with this episode, guys?
Honestly, I don't even know what happened in the episode. I don't know what happened.
All right. You know what? I watched a few trailers. Maybe I can piece this together.
Just wing it.
Yeah, I'll wing it. Well, Denzel, I mean Spock, McCoy, Scotty, and 4 other expendable crew members ready a shuttle for a scientific expedition. Things go horribly wrong when they hit a rough patch in space, causing the Enterprise to lose track of them and the shuttle crashing onto a planet. Everyone faces a race against time. The Enterprise scrambles to find a way to get the team before they are forced to leave, and the away team struggles to stay alive on the dangerous planet. Kirk takes action and starts to give orders to help find the lost team. Commissioner Ferris starts to butt heads with Kirk as he constantly reminds him that they are pressed for time. Kirk is clearly trying to play peacekeeper and does his best to reassure Ferris that they will leave per schedule. Too bad Commissioner Ferris is nothing like Commissioner Bueller. Either of you guys get that one? No? Okay. Audience, sorry. I hope you kind of appreciated that one.
Bueller?
Bueller? Isn't it a saying when you have to explain your joke?
I get it now.
Joke, it's kind of a bad joke.
Listen, if we have to explain it to Drew, he just cuts it out of the episode.
I thought we were still on a Magnificent Seven kick. I didn't realize we had switched.
Honestly,
I'm totally all over the place with this one.
Oh boy,
Brad,
I'm not ready for this.
Listen, Brad has Brad has the focus of I don't know, what's the opposite of John Wick?
John Wick's dog.
Oh, that's too soon. No.
I feel like I'm that dog from Up where it's like squirrel. Yeah, that's me. Where
no, that's not true. I like that dog.
Everybody likes that dog.
So you're saying you don't like me? I got it. All right, jump.
He is.
Moving on. Spock takes point and begins to rally the crew behind his Vulcan logic. The away team work towards repairing the ship, but right off the bat, we know things are not going to go well when we learn that the fuel reserves are low and 3 people will have to stay behind once the ship is repaired. When Spock is questioned about who will stay behind, he advises that he will be the one to decide to stay and go, because of course logic dictates. This goes well as much as a fart in church. That stinker is not really sitting well with anybody.
Spock is really throwing his weight around in this one.
Can we go back to the farting in church thing, Brad? Can we you want to talk about that? You want to
I feel like you're excited.
Like
that's something that you hope for
no,
when you go to church every week.
No, you just don't seem like the church type. Are you drinking coffee through a straw?
Yeah, I'm now Drew. Mark for edit. Jesus
No,
Christ.
don't mark that for edit. Don't mark that for edit. You gotta keep that. He's drinking coffee through a straw. Sorry.
But this isn't the first
also
time.
dying.
This isn't the first time.
No, this is not the first time. You've lost my
But
back for it.
I need you to get all the way off my back.
Well, while the team works on repairing the shuttle, one of the expendable crew members is scouting out the misty, devoured planet and is killed by a giant monkey guy with glasses and a spear. I think he had glasses. I wasn't really entirely sure. Like the picture I saw, it looked like he had glasses, guys.
Can we talk about that costume for a moment?
That was like Harry and the Hendersons meshed up with some sort of horribly bad just wool coat.
That was
oh my God.
That was just a hairy guy.
Yeah.
That was Majid without his shirt on.
I'm naturally hairless, and you know this. Even my legs are oddly hairless. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, oh, my daughter says, "Hey, do you shave?" I'm like, "No, I'm just naturally hairless. You're welcome."
You know what? I'm gonna stop right now. Let's move on. I don't even remember where I'm at.
Hairy guy in a bad costume.
All right, cool. The crew of the Enterprise identify a possible planet and send an away team to find the missing shuttlecraft. Sadly, Commissioner Ferris, is it Commissioner? I can't remember. Is it Commander?
I don't know.
I don't know. Some dude named Ferris is really being a pain in the behind.
Douchebagel.
And is really being like, "Yo guys, I'm tapping my watch here. We got to get going." I don't even remember why he wanted to get going. Like that was how insignificant this guy was for me.
It was just a ticking clock to appease Majid.
It did not appease me. It did not appease me. It did the opposite of appeasing. What's the opposite of appeasing?
Displeasing?
Dissatisfied?
I'm gonna go with Drew's because it's Drew.
Majid, you're a jerk.
It rhymes, by the way.
The away team is attacked a few more times by these spear-chucking monsters, killing one more of those 4 expendable crew members. At one point, Scotty plays with electricity, trying to scare away the monsters from the ship. I want to comment on that electricity scene, guys. That thing looked like real live electrical wires that he was handling and was like holding a live wire. I swear, it did not look like special effects.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Nope, nothing. I got nothing.
So either A, it was special effects, and if it was, kudos to them. But otherwise, he could have been killed.
I wonder if that was part of the remastering too.
Oh god!
Effects.
Oh man, that the remastering made me furious. Like I hated the opening sequence with the shuttlecraft and them leaving the ship.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That thing looked like an IKEA set room. Like when you go to IKEA and they kind of like dress the rooms, that shuttle looked like that. They couldn't even stand up properly.
You know what's even more infuriating? I don't want to dive into this too much because you haven't finished your summary yet, but the CGI on the remaster, like this remaster was put out in 2007, but Babylon 5 had better CGI in the 90s.
I know.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, Last Starfighter, man, had better CGI from the 80s.
What's the Last Starfighter?
From the 80s. You'd never seen it.
Anyways,
I'll just ask Frank.
With time,
he'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, he will. He'll know. With time being up, the crew of the Enterprise unable to find the away team, Kirk gives the order to pack up and be on their way. Unfortunately, that is roughly around the time when the away team was attacked, and having 2 less crew members apparently made all the difference. So they were able to find a way to repair the ship and take off the planet in the nick of time. Spock makes a radical decision to blow the fuel cells and have a last-ditch effort to save the away team. The crew of the Enterprise sees the blowing up of their fuel reserves and is like, there's the shuttlecraft, let's save them, and they beam them all on board. Once on board, the crew rally behind Spock to bring up how his decision to blow the fuel reserves was more human than logical, giving themselves a hearty good laugh. To sum up this episode, those spear-chucking monsters have better aim than stormtroopers. Spock is getting more human than he would like to admit, and sometimes it's best to ignore those who died in the episode and just give a good hearty belly laugh.
And freeze frame.
Oh. Guys, that episode. We got a good laugh at the end.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You missed the memo, I guess.
You didn't laugh, I can tell.
You're
Mr. Spock, I get it.
I'm not gonna poop all over this episode. Brad is still drinking coffee out of a straw. It kills me every single time. I'm sorry, that's my laugh. You should have done that to make me laugh. Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Oh God. Listen, I'm not gonna poo-poo all this episode. I'm not gonna try to poo-poo all of this episode. So if I do, just hit me with a strike or a demerit. But no, this episode, man, it was rough for me. It was. I'm not sure if you guys felt the same exact way.
Not particularly.
No, it to me it wasn't like a bad episode. It was very. It's very reminiscent. Oh God, I can't talk.
Reminiscent.
It reminded me a lot of Shore Leave in the sense that a lot happened, but yet nothing happened.
I mean, at least McCoy died in Shore Leave. We got that going for us.
We did get 2 other crew members who died though.
Yeah. So. There was a crew member at the very beginning who looked like me, and I said, "Oh my God, is that me?" And I had to rewind. I had to pause, but it wasn't me, because how would that work? I'm not Brad. I don't bend the laws.
I'm pretty sure that guy was a bit taller than you.
Honestly, every guy is a bit taller than me.
Drew, I want to start with that CGI, man. Like, I was very... I don't want to bash the episode. I want to bash the remaster. Because, like, that... We've seen some of the CGI so far, and to me, I think this is probably one of the first episodes that it felt the longest CGI was added. And that I would honestly was so much more frustrated with that. I would have rather them just left the classic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the intentions with the remaster of these episodes, but I really don't think that it's worked out for the better overall. And this is a prime example of that. You know, it looked like a bad video game.
Yeah.
You know, quite frankly.
I remember, like, Star Trek Voyager was out, like, I think right before this, and the Star Trek Voyager had so much better CGI. Yeah. I guess I feel like they just didn't want to take the time or the budget for it, and they were just like, nah, we'll just slap some stuff together.
Yeah.
Or they may have already grabbed it from a video game or something.
It's because Marvel needed all of the VFX artists to work on She-Hulk.
I haven't seen it yet, so we'll...
It comes out Thursday. You're fine.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then...
Hey, Brad,
yeah, that CGI looks bad,
Hey, Brad, what day do you think it is?
Today.
That's fair.
That's a good answer.
I should have...
He's technically correct.
Yeah, which is the best kind of correct. Yeah. That's fine. I'll allow it.
A question for you. What's She-Hulk?
Are you familiar with Hulk? The green guy? The big green guy?
Hulk Hogan?
That's fair. That's...
Let me tell you something, brother.
I get that. Are you familiar with the big green guy that smashes things in Marvel movies?
Green Giant?
He doesn't like vegetables.
Do you know who Lou Ferrigno is?
Yeah, he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah, so just picture him, but green.
And
that's the Hulk.
And ripped shorts with no shirt on.
So green, but like GD in the gym.
God, I wish. He's at least 6 feet taller than me. Anyway, so it's the Hulk's cousin, who happens to be a she.
Okay.
How did she get, like, the powers?
It was a blood transfusion. In the comics, it was due to she was sick, and Bruce gave her some of the blood. And I don't know if they're going to do the same exact thing in the show. It was accidental in the show, they said. So we'll see. I think in the comics, he knew the risk. In the show, they just said it's an accident.
I think I'm getting tired of all the Disney, Marvel, Star Wars TV shows. I'm getting kind of exhausted from all that stuff.
You know,
I think I took us too far off course. Let's get back to Star Trek.
No, but you know, we can definitely pivot back to Star Trek, because with Brad's comments, they're also milking the Star Trek property. Like
it's not as bad as the other stuff.
They have a Gorn show coming out, according to Drew.
Wait, what?
That was...
Hang on, he didn't see it. He didn't see it. You could have got him. He didn't see it.
It was a joke. It was a joke on Reddit. It's not real. There is no Gorn show.
Listen, Brad was all there for it, by the way. He's like, that's the best episode.
Yeah. There were, they had episode titles that they published, that's like fair. Gorn with the Wind.
That's fair. They did do Picard. Anyways, we're getting way off track, gentlemen. So what? With the whole purpose of this episode being an away team trying to do some sort of scientific expedition, they crash and there's a race against time. To me, the episode as a whole felt like it was lacking like a major plot point driver that the whole episode was based upon the crash, and there was really nothing else that kind of pushed it other than, hey, we got to leave, which to me is also a little unrealistic, where it's like if a shuttlecraft crashed, like the Enterprise would probably contact Starfleet to get some sort of other ship to at least come in instead, or to pick up this commissioner guy.
Well, I mean, we're starting to see the holes in a lot of the plot points of the original series episodes. They're very basic, broad brushstrokes with not a lot of detail filled in. And it, I think, kind of hampers some of these episodes. There's a lot of classics that are just top to bottom excellent. And those are the ones that are fleshed out. And unfortunately, this is maybe not one of those episodes that's as fleshed out. There's just... one problem to address and just a very loose ticking clock trying to force things along and, really not a lot going on.
Majid, how about you? How did you find that that ticking clock in this episode? Was it too forced for you? Because I knew you mentioned that this episode didn't really resonate with you.
Honestly, it was torture for me. I was on my phone most of the time.
Was it really that not interesting for you?
It was not attention grabbing to me at all. Like, if you ask me about this episode in a day or two, I couldn't tell you anything other than the guy that I thought was me for 5 seconds.
I wasn't. My attention wasn't held 100% of the time either. I was multitasking as well. But fair. I don't think I would go as far as, as Majid has gone with his feelings on it.
So I guess, Drew, what was one of the things that you enjoyed about this episode?
Well, I think it was kind of interesting to show how Spock's brain works when the situation is in front of him. He's trying to address everything logically and, find the mathematics of the situation to a fault, and we're seeing the crew rebel against him for that very reason. It's like, yeah, we get that you want to do the right thing and save as many people as possible, but you're removing the human equation from the situation, and that doesn't really resonate with crew members. I do find it kind of strange that we keep going back to this disobedient crew, though. Like it seems like every episode there's somebody that's just not following orders and rejecting the orders that are given, whether it's from the captain or Spock or anybody else. That part's getting a little old.
Yeah, I think they rely upon that for a lot of conflict points in the episode, because I feel that they could have done without it. To your point, is like it could have been an episode and the people could have died still with them following orders. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I think it would have been better if they did it that way, because then that would have showed Spock the consequences of his orders.
Right.
But to me, it's more of they have a idea of what happens, and then they write around that idea.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Like it's a situation where it's, what if X happened, and then let's come up with all these different plot points to revolve around that, and it doesn't always pan out, in my opinion.
No, unfortunately, it doesn't. Some things I think in some previous episodes it does a little bit better because they have more substance around it. But this is just more of a, hey, we have an episode ticking clock, and then that's it. And I think we've hit that lull in the season, because you and I, we've had experience with previous Star Trek series, and we can tell when they have they're just kind of making episodes to make episodes. Yeah. To fill out this season rather than bring more substance to it. And to me, I think that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Yeah. We're going to be kind of just hitting moments of brilliance scattered throughout, just pockets of boring.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think we're really at that, because it's, there could be so much more towards their actual pushing as the actual story. But there's no substance in this. There's no underlying thing. And when we come from episodes such as Balance of Terror, and then we go to Shore Leave, and then the Galileo 7, it's such a a drop in quality in writing and actually I think they're looking more towards trying to have a variety of different episodes, because this is I would say more of an action filled, if you could call it action filled, because it's like more suspense. I'd probably say more, because you're not sure, like, are they going to die? Who's going to survive off this planet?
There are there are a few episodes I'm looking forward to coming up. Number 18, which is Arena. Court Martial, which is 20. And Space Seed, which I think is the first appearance of Ricardo Montalban as Khan.
Yep. So those should be actually coming around the corner pretty quick.
Yeah, 18, 20, and 22.
Next one, we have the Squire of
Gothos.
Yeah, we're
Gothos.
So we're not going by the production schedule. We're going by the release schedule.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure 17 is Squire of Gothos.
Yeah, so we got Squire of Gothos next, Arena. Tomorrow was Yesterday, Court Martial, Return of the Archons. I've never even heard of that one. And then Space Seed. So you get Space Seeds a few weeks out.
Acorns.
So
Archons.
so Drew, you know, it's funny with the Squire of Gothos. I know zero information of that episode. However, I know one of the characters, like, it's a very memorable character, shows up in this from several scenes. Like, I've seen it in like video games. And I'm so intrigued to see what this episode is. If it's actually going to be entertaining, or if it's just going to be another flop.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat too. I didn't realize until you had mentioned it, but yeah, I'm not familiar with the episode itself, but I am familiar with the main antagonist. So it'd be interesting. I mean, this is, you know, this whole experiment that we're going through right now with this show has been fun. Kind of seeing, you know, all these different things that are, legendary in the Star Trek mythos, and whether or not they still hold up. And some of them do, some of them don't, you know.
I can quite easily see this being the episode that we just watched, the Galileo 7, is just being one of those episodes that's so forgotten by most.
Yeah.
There really wasn't much drive on that.
What a cool title, though. The Galileo 7. Like, I really loved the title of this. I was excited.
I mean, I've often referred to us as the Bradford 3.
Nice.
I mean, it reminds. Was it 12 Angry Men? It was a movie where the title kind of interested, like, always intrigued me. Magnificent Seven.
The Bradford 3. We could make a catch.
When they kind of do things like that, it always kind of intrigues me to just like, oh, what is this going to be about? Like, what's the conflict? I kind of feel like they were trying to do a play between that type of style where it's like a conflict between the seven. It really didn't move much though. The I guess one of the highlights for this episode for me was the man in the monkey suit. It was a guy I remember seeing like one clip where it's like it looked like he had glasses on, and it was just so hilarious. The special effects from that era.
Yeah.
I mean, if he couldn't see what he was going to kill, I mean, you wear glasses. Nobody faults you for it. Let him live, Brad. Let him live.
I will. I mean, he probably needs better prescription because the way they're throwing those spears, they were not doing too well.
I mean,
Majid, how about you, buddy? What was one of the highlights for this episode for you?
When it ended.
Well, speaking of the ending, what about that ending there? Ignoring the two crew members that died, and then just doing a good old belly laugh with Spock, as in, like, realizing that he made an emotional decision.
This is why, in a couple episodes, Kirk's going to be court-martialed because of the amount of lives that he's lost in his ship under his command.
And he just laugh it off.
Right. Again, the in my head canon, this whole series is one recount of Kirk's inept leadership, and he's being court-martialed for his actions.
It did feel weird though with the laugh at the end, right? Like that just felt so out of place and so unusual.
It felt like it's supposed to be like the end of a sitcom. But nothing of this episode was funny.
The trauma was funny.
I guess. I mean, they could have just like ended on the line where they're like, saying about how Spock did something human, and he's just straight face says no, and then Kirk just like shakes his head, smiles, and then gives the order to depart or whatever. Like there are much better ways to do that.
Oh, completely. It felt so forced.
Yeah, it really did.
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't glasses. He was just wearing a mask. I found a picture of the actual monster on Memory Alpha, and it's pretty horrific.
Well, those monsters were pretty horrific.
It's like Sasquatch, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you had that much hair, just like Majid does, then you'd be pretty worried about that.
I mean, I have a lot of hair in certain places, not everywhere.
That's not what the webcam says, buddy.
That's fair. I need a haircut.
And there's also a picture on Memory Alpha of Scotty electrocuting the ship.
Yeah.
It looks like he's holding some sort of like torch welder. And I'm just like, that can't be safe. Like, if they're actually like, oh man, like I don't know, like back then when they were doing special effects, they didn't really care in a lot of circumstances. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just like, hey, here's some rubber gloves, hold this.
They didn't have any sort of safety measures on set,
Not and like what we do nowadays.
If I'm not mistaken, James Doohan like fought in wars and stuff, so like this is nothing.
Didn't he lose part of his thumb or something?
Yeah, he's missing like part of one of his fingers or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was he fought in World War II. So, doing this little shindig with this electrical thing is probably no big deal to him.
Let me tell you something, laddie. I don't know. That was a bad Scotty impression.
That was real bad.
Does he ever say laddie?
I.
So he's a pirate now? You guys are worse than I am. Sorry.
Gentlemen, anything else you want to talk about this episode? Because this is becoming another shore leave where we've covered everything within 10 minutes, it felt?
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, there's really not a lot going on here.
Surely you've had more going on than this.
It did. Well, just more chaos.
I kind of wish they time traveled so this episode never happened.
Well, you may get your wish in a future episode, Majid.
Is that a spoiler alert, Brad?
Well, they do time travel in future episodes.
With a time crystal?
We don't talk about time crystals.
Is that how you time travel?
Drew, anything you want to comment on, sir?
No, I'm ready to give my score.
All right. So, this was a very interesting episode, and not necessarily in the good way. So, Drew, I'll start with you, buddy. Where did you fall in this episode?
I don't think I was as negative about it as it sounds. Certainly not one of the finest episodes of Star Trek. And there were some questionable decisions made with the writing and characterization of Spock and how the crew reacted to him. But I did find it to be an entertaining episode overall. If it were on TV and I'm surfing through the channels, if I caught it midway through, I'd probably let it play out. I'd leave it on. I don't think I would turn it off. But I wouldn't go out of my way to find this episode and rewatch it either. I don't think there's really anything of substance there that's necessary to revisit. So that's going to lead me to a 6.
Wow.
I'm assuming, Majid, that's a little bit of a higher score than you had anticipated.
Yeah, double. It's double what I was thinking.
Well, Well, really, what? So then, what? Where's your
Three.
Where's your mind? Really?
Three.
Wow. Like, so
listen, I had more fun sending you memes about the episode. And what did I say? I think when they landed and Spock was handing out orders, I expected the dialogue to be you, and you put on these red shirts and go explode a planet. No, leave the phasers. Just go.
So just to clarify, you liked it less than the cage. That was so you like the cage more than this episode.
So at least with the cage, I was off my phone. This one, I had no interest. Even my wife was like, "What is this?"
The only other episode that you gave this low of a score was What Are Little Girls Made Of?
I think part of that was also a bad title.
That title was very deceiving.
Well, what I find interesting here is how basically our scores for Galileo 7 and Shore Leave are essentially juxtaposed.
What's that word mean?
Well, I gave Shore Leave a 4. You gave it a 7.
Ah, yeah.
I gave Galileo 7 a 6. You gave it a 3. So, kind of flip-flop there, buddy.
I mean, one's a 6, one's a 7.
But the difference between the two is the same. It's a 4-point spread.
I don't know numbers
or a 3-point spread.
I think with this episode, I was more entertained with Shore Leave than I was with this episode. However, it wasn't an episode, to your point, Drew, that I absolutely hated. It wasn't anything that I found offensive. It wasn't something that I felt was quite out just really bad. Overall, I think it could have been done better in several areas. There were definite moments that kind of like WTF. The whole like laughing at the end was like, why are they doing that? It felt like they were trying to do a sitcom of sorts.
Have you never laughed through the pain before?
You just sometimes have to do it. However, with that said, it wasn't bad. I'm at a 6 for this one.
Wow. Brad feels equally strong about bad episodes.
So yeah, it wasn't, again, to me, it wasn't really that bad. Could have been better, could have been worse. It was mediocre.
I can't think of how the episode could be worse.
They could have been racist. They could have included Nazis.
They could have. They could have drank coffee from a straw.
My cup's too far. I can't drink from in front of you anymore.
This show needs more Carl Urban. That's it. Like, you can make anything better. Just put Carl Urban in it.
That's true. We can do the Carlton.
I thought you said
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
I thought you tried to say carbon, but like stumbled over your words. Like,
I had to scratch my nose. If they put Carl Urban in it, then
is this some new form of bread? Carb Urban?
Carbs. God, I love carbs.
Gentlemen, anything else we want to discuss or cover before we go into the next week's episode?
No. The faster we get away from this hot pile of 2020 garbage, the better.
Well, you may regret those words after you see the next episode. Then again, you may not. You may actually be very, very thrilled that you said those things. I don't really know. But we will know next week when we meet to discuss next week's episode, The Squire of Gothos. The Enterprise is captured by Trelane, the childish ruler of Gothos. Trelane. Whatever. Trelane. Got it. Trelane.
Am I hosting this one?
Yes, you are.
All right, good.
So Drew, you better get that right.
I will.
Well, folks, as always, thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Drink coffee from a straw.
Thanks for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast. We're a part of the Retro Sessions Network. This episode was recorded on August 16th, 2022. It is hosted by Brad, Drew, and Majid. This episode was edited by Drew because, he's the master of all things editing. Brad kind of wrote a synopsis, and I'm pretty sure Majid does artwork, but I haven't actually seen him do it, so I don't really know. Special thanks to William Grobelaar Music for our music, Warp Speed, and To the Stars. You can find him on SoundCloud. We'll have links in the show notes. Also, special thanks to George Rattau for the additional artwork. He made us look like Lower Deck characters. Hit him up on Fiverr and you can too. We'll drop a link for him in the notes as well. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter at yetanotherstpod, or shoot us an email at yetanotherstpod@gmail.com. We've also got a Discord room, so come and say hello. Next week, we'll be watching The Squire of Gothos. Watch along with us on Paramount Plus and let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know how we're doing. Post a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. 5 stars preferred, but hey, we're not picky. Thanks for the support. See you again next week.